Tying One On with Sean. Today I'm going to be tying the Deep Caddis Pupa, sometimes referred to as a sparkle pupa as well. I've weighted this fly in a size 14. It's also tied in a range from say 12 to 18, with 14 and 16 being my preferred sizes here. And this pattern comes from Gary LaFontaine's book, Caddis Flies. So I'm going to tie in a caddis green Antron yarn here. I'm going to tie one side in, and then I'm going to pull the other side back and get both, a piece on each side of the hook shank. In his book, Gary LaFontaine identified 5 primary patterns for both the deep caddis pupa and the emerging caddis pupa. So I generally stick to those color combinations in the book, and there are several more, but the 5 primary, according to him and his studies, identify 70% of the caddis hatches out there. So I stick to those 5. So we're going to build this body up here with a relatively tightly wound green dubbed body. And I'm just going to bring this up to where I weighted the fly. Now you can fish these dead drift along the bottom. This deep fly, obviously by its name, we fish this one deep, but it can still be attractive to trout in the water column on the swing at the end of your drift. So if you notice there, I put 2 loose wraps, wide wraps, spiraling wraps towards the eye of the hook. And what I'm going to do is I'm spreading the Antron material, which is going to make the shuck bubble. And now I'm going to pull these forward and 2 wraps right behind the hook eye where I left my thread. And I'm going to use the pinch wrap here to try and keep this material in place because it does get slick. So if I stay right behind the eye, that buys me a little bit of room, and you can pull the ends of the Antron back towards the bend of the hook. And by doing that, those 2 loose spiral wraps I put at the front of the hook, they condense and you've got your bubble created. Now we'll throw a couple of wraps in front of the Antron and then snip this off so we can finish the fly. So there's your shuck, and shuck is supposed to be relatively sparse. Sometimes I'll even make them a little bit more sparse than this and take some of the Antron out of the the 2 or 3 inch piece I cut off. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna dub in a mix of chocolate brown and black, and I'm just gonna put a couple of little wraps here in front of this shuck and before I add the legs. Now this pattern, as well as the pupa emerger pattern, this trout love them, and they can be fished during hatches. They can be fished prior to hatches, and still prove to be very successful. So now I flip the fly over, and I'm gonna add these legs on the bottom of the fly, and I want them tied with the stem right in the middle and a little bit longer than than the hook point. So I put 2 wraps on top, a wrap or 2 behind, and then we'll cut this off and clean up any stragglers that are behind the hook eye here or underneath the hook eye here. And these legs, according to Gary's research, the legs should be on the side. So I'm going to spread these out a bit and get them on the lower sides of the fly versus right on the bottom. Now we're just going to dub some more of the chocolate and black mix and build up a tapered head to this fly, and it can be very buggy as well. So sometimes I'll brush materials out of this. I don't mind if there's guard hairs in it, and we'll just build this up with a little bit of taper. Throw on a whip finish. Cut the string here, cut the thread. And you're good to go. The Deep Caddis Pupa is a super effective fly. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time at Tying One On with Sean. Check us out at guidesley.com.